Welcome to Storytimer at Large. Tomiko Hassenbein. On April 8th, 1964, Tomiko Hassenbein left the house early to head to the bus stop. She worked at the RCA factory as an instrument operator and was always very punctual. Her husband, Hyman, had left for work even earlier, around 5 a.m. He worked at the post office. Tomiko's son, Alan, 12, would be seeing himself off to school. Her daughter, Alice, was grown and married and did not live nearby. Tomiko did not make it to the bus stop that morning. The driver was surprised that she wasn't there. She was always on time and very serious about getting to work. Tomiko was 36. She had grown up in Japan. She met her husband there when he was serving in the armed forces. The newspapers liked to describe her as a war bride. Tomiko had not been home for a visit, sadly, in 20 years. She was working and saving for a trip, though. Tomiko and her family lived at 604 East 34th Street in Indianapolis. That morning, on April 8, 1964, Tomiko was grabbed and dragged through an alley into the backyard of 3402 Broadway. She was raped and strangled with a pink bath towel. Investigators at the time theorized that the towel was stolen from a nearby clothesline. The neighbors heard nothing. Tomiko was discovered when Don Renfro happened to glance out his window while getting ready that morning. He saw Tomiko's lifeless body laying in the backyard. Tomiko fought back against her attacker. Her killer stole her gold watch and what little money she kept in her purse. Some of the coins were kind of rare, but not expensive, not valuable. They only had sentimental value because they were from her homeland. But they weren't the kind of coins that everybody would have, that would be, readily available in Indianapolis in 1964. Several known rapists were interviewed by police. One had a good alibi in that he was in jail in Bloomington at the time of the attack. He was jailed there in the rape of an IU student. No charges were brought against the other suspects. One was arrested for burglary charges later, and some of the coins found in his home appeared to be Tomiko's coins. Ultimately, police felt that that was not enough evidence to bring charges. I would really like to know the name of that suspect. I wonder if it's still in files anywhere. What if Tomiko's clothes and things are still in a box in an evidence room somewhere? What if they clipped her fingernails and saved those? What if they scraped under her fingernails and saved the scrapings? DNA could still be there. What if the suspects they spoke to in 1964 have a DNA profile on CODIS right now? One suspect that I would suggest is David J. Roberts. He was from Indianapolis, and in 1966, he was convicted of raping a woman in Kokomo. In September of 1974, he killed Bill and Ann Patrick and their infant daughter Heidi in New Whiteland, Indiana. That's south of Greenwood. He thought they were going to testify against him for stealing some tires. In November of 1974, David J. Roberts abducted and raped Paula Utterback. She had her infant son in the car with her. He drove the two of them around for quite some time. He then locked Paula in the trunk of her own car, continued to drive around, left her baby son, Jason, in front of a house out in the cold in November, and Jason died of exposure overnight. Paula Utterback was able to escape the trunk by making a lot of noise, and someone was able to help her get out, and she testified against him. And he was tried and convicted and sentenced to jail for the rape of Paula and abduction and the murder of Jason, little Jason Utterback. He had a long, strange criminal career, though. He did escape and made it all the way to Staten Island, and he was the first person recovered, found, and brought back to justice by the John Walsh TV show that I'm sure you're all familiar with, and why I'm forgetting the name of it, I don't know, but I know you know it. But David J. Roberts, I think, is definitely brazen enough to have committed this rape and murder of Tomiko Hassenbein by just dragging her into the backyards of other people. He would have been 20 years old in 1964. He is incarcerated in Indiana as of May 2025, still incarcerated. News articles of the rape and murder of Tomiko Hassenbein mention a hair on one of her gloves that might have belonged to the perpetrator. There's always hope that her case can be solved. This murderer was bold. He seems to have done this enough times to know he could strangle her and keep her silent. I think he had done this numerous times before. This was not his first kill. Tomiko's husband and her son went on that long-awaited trip back to Japan. Her husband, Hyman, wanted to tell her parents the news in person. Instead of a joyful reunion, they received the worst news any parent can hear. Alan Hassenbein was only 12 years old when his mother was taken from him. Alice, her daughter, was still a young woman. They deserved to have their mother around for a long time. Tomiko deserved a long and happy life. We can't give her that, but perhaps we can bring some justice in this case by finding out who raped and murdered her. Rest in peace, Tomiko Hassenbein. If you have information about the rape and murder of Tomiko Hassenbein, please submit a tip to the Indianapolis Police Department and Crime Stoppers at a web address that I will post in the comments below this video. There's always hope that a case can be solved, even one this old.